The movie opens in the crowded streets of ancient Persia, where a young orphan boy survives by stealing food and running from guards every single day. The streets are harsh, dangerous, and unforgiving, but despite living like a thief, the boy has a strong sense of justice. One day, while running through the marketplace, he notices a smaller child being abused by a guard. Instead of escaping, the boy risks his own freedom to protect the child. That single act changes his entire life forever. At that exact moment, the king of Persia happens to witness everything. Unlike the others around him, the king does not see a criminal. He sees courage. Impressed by the boy's bravery, the king adopts him into the royal family and gives him a new name, Dastan. Years pass, and the orphan boy grows into a skilled warrior prince alongside the king's two biological sons. Even though Dastan is not related by blood, the king treats him like family, and the three brothers become powerful leaders of Persia. But while the kingdom appears peaceful on the surface, danger is quietly growing behind the scenes. The story then shifts to a holy city called Alamut, a sacred place believed to possess dangerous weapons capable of threatening Persia itself. Dastan's uncle, Nizam, convinces the king that Alamut is secretly supplying weapons to Persia's enemies. Believing they must act quickly, the Persian army launches an invasion against the city. Massive battle sequences erupt as Persian soldiers storm the walls of Alamut. Dastan leads the attack with incredible speed and agility, climbing rooftops, jumping across buildings, and fighting through enemies with skill that makes him stand out from everyone else. Eventually, Persia successfully conquers the city. But during the battle, Dastan discovers something unusual. Inside the palace, he finds an ancient dagger unlike anything he has ever seen before. The weapon is beautifully crafted and contains glowing mystical sand hidden inside its handle. At first, Dastan thinks it is simply a valuable artifact. He has no idea it is one of the most dangerous objects in the world. After the battle ends, a celebration is held to honor the victory. However, things suddenly take a dark turn. The king is mysteriously poisoned and dies in front of everyone. Chaos instantly erupts throughout the palace, and before Dastan can even understand what is happening, he is blamed for the murder. Suddenly, the adopted prince who was once loved by the kingdom becomes a fugitive overnight. Forced to escape, Dastan barely survives as soldiers hunt him across the city. During the chaos, he accidentally activates the mystical dagger for the very first time. Time suddenly reverses. Everything around him moves backward. For a few seconds, Dastan witnesses the impossible. The dagger can turn back time itself. Realizing the artifact is far more powerful than he imagined, Dastan escapes with the dagger before the royal guards can capture him. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Princess Tamina, the mysterious guardian of the dagger and protector of the sacred sands of time. She reveals that the dagger is capable of releasing the sands, magical particles created by the gods themselves. If someone unleashes the sands completely, they could reverse time on a massive scale and potentially destroy the entire world. And now, that power is in danger of falling into the wrong hands. At first, Tamina does not trust Dastan at all. To her, he is simply another Persian invader who helped destroy her city. But Dastan insists he is innocent and claims someone else orchestrated the king's murder. Reluctantly, the two form an uneasy alliance. Together, they begin traveling across deserts, mountains, and dangerous territories while trying to uncover the truth behind the conspiracy. As they journey together, Dastan slowly learns more about the dagger and the secret history of the sands of time. Tamina explains that long ago, The gods hid the sands beneath Alamut to prevent humanity from abusing their power. The dagger was created as the only key capable of controlling them. If the dagger reaches the hidden chamber beneath the city, someone could unleash enough power to change history forever. Meanwhile, back in Persia, Dastan's brothers believe he truly murdered the king. The kingdom begins falling into political chaos as suspicion spreads everywhere. At the same time, the real mastermind quietly continues manipulating events from the shadows. Dastan and Tamina eventually discover that someone is hunting them relentlessly in order to obtain the dagger. This leads to several intense action scenes where assassins attack them using terrifying weapons and deadly combat skills. One of the most dangerous enemies they face are the assassins, elite killers who use snakes, poison, and supernatural-looking tricks to eliminate their targets. These fight scenes become increasingly intense as Dastan and Tamina barely survive multiple assassination attempts. Along the journey, Dastan and Tamina slowly begin trusting each other. Their relationship evolves from hostility into genuine connection as they spend more time together. Tamina starts seeing that Dastan is not driven by greed like most rulers. And Dastan realizes Tamina carries the burden of protecting the world almost entirely by herself. At one point, Dastan accidentally uses the dagger again during combat, reversing time just enough to save both their lives. He begins understanding how dangerous and addictive the dagger's power truly is. Because with enough control, a person could undo mistakes endlessly. But Tamina warns him that no human should possess that kind of power.
If you've made it this far into the story, then you're definitely enjoying the recap. So take 1 second to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another movie breakdown like this. Now let's get back to the movie.
As the story continues, Dastan slowly pieces together the truth behind the king's death. And eventually, he realizes the shocking answer. The real villain is Nizam, his own uncle. Nizam secretly manipulated Persia into invading Alamut because he wanted access to the sands of time. He framed Dastan for murder in order to remove him from power and create chaos within the kingdom. But Nizam's true goal goes even deeper. Years earlier, the king once saved Nizam's life during a hunting accident. Ever since then, Nizam secretly lived in his brother's shadow, filled with jealousy and resentment. Now, he believes the sands can allow him to change the past and become king himself. The moment Dastan discovers this truth, everything changes. He now realizes the fate of the entire world depends on stopping Nizam before he reaches the sands. The final act of the movie becomes a desperate race back to Alamut. Nizam has already gathered soldiers and begun searching for the hidden chamber beneath the city. Massive battles erupt once again as Dastan fights to stop him. During the chaos, Dastan attempts to convince his brothers that he is innocent, but years of manipulation have made trust almost impossible. At the same time, Tamina risks everything to protect the dagger from falling into Nizam's hands. Eventually, Nizam reaches the sacred chamber containing the sands of time. A brutal confrontation begins. Dastan fights desperately against assassins and guards while trying to stop his uncle from activating the dagger. Tamina is mortally wounded during the struggle, sacrificing herself to keep the sands safe. Her death completely devastates Dastan. But before he can process the loss, Nizam seizes the dagger and unleashes the sands of time. Reality itself begins collapsing. Time starts breaking apart. And in one final desperate move, Dastan grabs the dagger and plunges it into the center of the sands. Suddenly, everything rewinds. Not seconds, not minutes, but all the way back to the beginning of the invasion of Alamut. Dastan wakes up in the past, realizing he now has one final chance to prevent everything from happening again. This time, he knows the truth. He knows Nizam is the traitor. He knows the invasion is based on lies. And he knows exactly what must be done. Using his knowledge of future events, Dastan exposes Nizam before the entire royal court. The truth finally comes out, revealing the conspiracy behind the king's death and the attempt to control the sands of time. Nizam desperately tries to kill the king again, but this time, Dastan stops him before he can succeed. The betrayal is exposed, the kingdom is saved, and history itself changes forever. In the final scenes, Dastan returns the dagger to Tamina, who now exists in this restored timeline without remembering everything that happened between them. However, there is still an emotional connection between them, as if destiny itself remembers what time erased. The movie ends with Dastan smiling slightly, as he realizes the future has finally been rewritten. Not through power, not through revenge, but through sacrifice, courage, and the choice to do what is right.